Alien Earth, Episode 3. And not much happened compared to the first two episodes, and I mean that in the best possible way. While not overstating anything, this was an episode that developed some of the characters in subtle ways. Why is this important? As in all good fiction, the viewer has to understand the characters and feel something for them. We want to protect those who we love. We want those we hate to get their comeuppance. We want people who are morally gray to make the right choice. And we want people to pay for their sins or repent and earn forgiveness. I mean, in horror, if we don't care about those who might die, we don't care when they die, and it just becomes an exercise in torture porn one-upmanship. Before I dive in, I would like to remind you that I would love to read any comments you choose to leave, and that if you enjoyed this video and want more videos on entertainment topics of all kinds, leave a like to let me know and consider subscribing to my channel. Everything helps. Anyway, bare bones. Wendy rescues her brother Hermit, but both are seriously injured. The xenomorph goes down off camera, and I was pretty uninterested. As I said in my last video on Alien Earth, I've seen this particular alien monster enough times that it has lost its luster, for me anyway. It has no new tricks and either comes across as an unstoppable killing machine or an easily countered minor menace. It depends on what the plot requires at this point, and there's no inherent horror left in it. Again, for me, your mileage may vary. The rest of the Lost Boys make it back safely with the other alien species. Morrow has a confusing confrontation with two of them, but is driven off by a very menacing Kirsch. Boy Kavalier watches with a mixture of concern and interest as everything is delivered to his island base. Boy Kavalier, the youngest person to become a trillionaire, founder of Prodigy, the newest of the major corporations that rule the world. We learned last episode that he is bored talking to normies and longs for someone at his intellectual level to talk with. He may have found such a person this episode in the character of hybrid Curly. She was grateful to Prodigy for a new lease on life and came to meet Boy Kavalier after the mission. What did we learn about her? She seems more mature than the other hybrids. She challenges Wendy's status as Kavalier's favorite. Her line, "Smart people don't ask dumb questions," I thought, gets him to pay attention to her. When he says Wendy is his favorite because she was the first, Curly replies, "My dad always threw the first pancake in the trash." She says she is the best, she has ideas, and she wants to change the world. I could be you one day, more than you, maybe. Her ambition and directness impress Kavalier. When talking about prodigies, he says, what makes them geniuses is the fact that they're children. Children have access to a world of infinite imagination. Kavalier promises to send her books and videos to study, and then they can meet again to play. After the last episode, I wondered if Kavalier were dying. Shifting his mind into a hybrid body would make him immortal in a way, so even if he were not ill, we all die in the end. Creating these hybrids and testing them in the field could be a way of ironing out any bugs before attempting the procedure on himself. Now, though, I wonder if it might be that as he ages, he's losing his ability to come up with the next big idea. Putting a child's mind into a hybrid body might freeze some aspects of that mind in a childlike state and allow access to that infinite imagination he mentioned. What is his end goal? What is Curly's, for that matter? Is she seeking status in the eyes of her creator? Is she trying to define her purpose? Is she flirting? We must keep an eye on her, as she is the character who has most directly expressed goals and desires. Also, she gives us unfiltered access into the mind of Boy Kavalier. Another hybrid who got some development in a less overt and more disturbing way is Nibs. She was almost taken by the eyeball alien and is still dwelling on that. She replays the moment it lunged at her in her mind. She also reflects on seeing her former body lying on a table after the transfer. She sees her former face partially reflected in the mirror when she examines her own eyes. Earlier, in conversation with Curly, Nibs asked, with some distaste, why they had to change names, why they couldn't choose names of their own, why everything is related to Peter Pan, why they're called the Lost Boys when some of them are girls. I'm left wondering if Nibs has a death wish in some way. Does she think she died, and what she is now is just a fake version of her former self? I want to follow her story. I want to get her answers. This raised some questions as I was watching. The child's mind was transferred to a hybrid body, but that just means a copy was made, right? Wouldn't the original mind still exist in the old body? Were those bodies killed by the process? Or are those bodies still alive somewhere, kept on ice, just in case another transfer is needed? Will Nibs try to find out what happened to her former self? The rest of the characters were following plot-driven narratives, and there was not as much development of who they are in this episode. I'm sure that will be rectified as the series progresses. Morrow and Slightly had some interesting interactions, and we learned that Morrow regrets what he did, or was forced to do, and has lost everyone he knows due to the duration of the space mission. He seems to soften when he learns that the hybrids are actually children, and seems to bond with Slightly, perhaps as a replacement for his long-dead daughter. Or is he just manipulating a child? Is he good at heart and had his morals compromised, and is now haunted by the screams and accusations of his former crewmates? Or is he another kind of monster? Speaking of which, it was mentioned that 5 alien species were brought back aboard the Maginot. We have the leech things, the eyeball dude, the ceiling pod creature, so that makes 3. Then we have the xenomorph, which is 4. Are they counting the eggs or face huggers as the 5th, even though they're part of the xenomorph life cycle? Or is there some species of alien that I've overlooked? What are the 5 aliens exactly? Leech, eyeball, ceiling pod, xenomorph, egg? Face hugger? What's the 5th? And we've also confirmed that the facehuggers implant a xenomorph embryo into the target host. The various steps of the ovomorph to xenomorph cycle are now clear. Nice to see it represented on screen and have the canon clarified. Some themes I've noticed. Parenthood. Some of the hybrids have talked about their parents. Morrow talked about his daughter. The head personnel of the hybrid program look at Wendy as their little girl. The xenomorph is the offspring of the ovomorph and facehugger, and so on. Boy Kavalier, while not looking at the hybrids as children, and more as childlike peers to play with, seems to want to pass on a legacy, which is like parenthood to life. What is life? How precious is life? Does every living thing have the right to exist? Should life forms be exploited and experimented on? Are the hybrids alive, or are they mockeries of life? In the end, will the Lost Boys have empathy and attachment to humanity or to the new alien species? For that matter, what is the greater threat to humanity as a whole? The potentially invasive alien species? The rise of synthetic life forms like Kirsch? Or the replacement of humanity by hybrids? Hopefully these themes will be explored further. One aside, if this show takes place in 2120 and the Maginot's mission lasted 65 years, that would mean the spaceship has to launch by 2055. That's just 30 years from now. Cybernetics were available, as we've seen with Morrow, but not synthetics yet. How about FTL systems? Will we get a nice timeline of how technology is supposed to develop? Also, can Wendy hear the aliens because she can interface with technological systems and the aliens are biomechanical in some way? That aspect of xenomorphs has always been hinted at. Is she tapping into signals from a hive mind? Will she be the new queen in some manner? Just my thoughts and impressions. If you agree, disagree, or want to add information and ideas of your own, please leave a comment. Anything and everything is welcome, and I would love to read it. Lastly, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like to let me know, and if you're interested in more videos about entertainment topics of all kinds, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching. See you next time.